the first video in my new JavaScript Snippets Series. In this first episode, we are going to be looking at three methods to get unique values from an array in ES6. The first method we are going to be looking at, we'll be using the data structure set. Then we'll move on to using Array.filter. And then the last method will be using a for-of iteration. Now we've provided an array that has no unique values here. So that's the array that we'll be using to test our different methods. Now let's move on to the first one, using set. To use a set is the set data structure. Wherever you pass an array to the set data structure, it returns a unique value from that array. So it is as simple as ABCD. So what we are doing here is to return a new value, just to spread that set, the values that set returns, into a new array. And that's what we've accomplished here. So we simply define a function that takes the array as a parameter, pass that array to a new set, and spread the result of that new set into a new array, and return that array as the solution to as the return value for the useSet function. Now we are just going to simply test that, and we'll just call node distance.js. We see what it returns here is unique values in that array, and that's exactly what we expect. Now let's move on to the next one. The next one will be using Array.filter. Now, Array.filter is a function in JavaScript in ES6 that takes in three parameters, one compulsory parameter and two other optional parameters. Now, the value here that it takes in a function, it takes in a callback that actually use that has an option, a compulsory parameter and other optional parameter. Now the value here is the compulsory parameter. It is the current element that the filter is working on. The index is actually the current index of that element, and then self is the array that the filter is currently working on. So what we simply did here was to check if the index of that current value is equals to the current index, because the callback return is a predicate that returns every element that evaluates to true. So this becomes true only for the first occurrence of this element. That's what we do here. So if we simply run that, we'll see if we get the same value as our useSet. And exactly, we get the same value, and that's exactly what we expect. Now let's move on to using iteration. Now this is using iteration. In this, we are just going to use for-of. We are just going to iterate through the array using a for-of, and then first of all we will define an array that will call map at this point, and then we'll just loop through the array, then check if the index of that value is equals to -1. Now if you check an array, if an array doesn't find a value using index of, it returns a -1, but if it finds a value, it returns 0 or anything greater than 0. So if that index is not currently in that array, we just do map.push. We push that value in that map. But if it's currently there, which will make it to return the particular index, either 0 or anything greater than 0, then we don't necessarily have to push it in. By doing that, we only get unique elements in this new array, and then when we return that array, it gives us the unique elements we need. Now if we just run that last function, let's see if it gives us exactly what we need. And yes, it gives us what we need. Those are three methods for which you can use to get unique values from an array. Now, we've not discussed the space-time complexity of this method. We just discuss simply if these values, if you can use this method to get unique values from an array. Join us next time. We'll be discussing how to sort an array using different methods. Thank you very much and see you next time.